Yep, it's still raining. Yes, welcome along to this week's Women's Football Chat. This is your weekly show dedicated to the FAWNL, the third and fourth tiers of women's football here in England. And the rain continues to fall, and this may well be a extremely short women's football chat. Lots of games postponed, although there should be a relatively full programme coming up this weekend, we have already had one venue switch to try and get the game on. There may well be many more between now and Sunday, but every Thursday, 6 p.m, I'm here to bring you the very latest from the 6 divisions of the FAWNL, and we're going to start, as we always do, with the news and two managerial departures this week to talk about. Firstly, and one that was a bit of a surprising one for me, Norwich City women have parted company with head coach Martin Herdman. Now, Norwich, of course, second in Division 1 South East at the moment, and they are currently 6 points behind AFC Wimbledon, but with 2 games in hand and a game against Wimbledon to come. So a slightly unusual departure, it seems, on the surface between Martin and Norwich City. The statement the Norwich City women have put out says that Herman joined City in the summer of 2023, so before the start of this season, but following ongoing discussions with the club over the head coach role and its wider responsibilities, a decision has been made to make a change at this stage. As I said, the Canaries currently sit in second position in the Division 1 South East table, the club now working to appoint an interim replacement until the end of the season. Everybody at Norwich City would like to place on record its thanks to Martin for his work during his time at the club. So something has happened in the discussions between the two parties there that has resulted in that departure. But given the huge battle that kind of is laid out before us over the next 2 months, then for me that seems to put the advantage a little bit in Wimbledon's hands. So that's the first managerial departure. The other managerial departure makes a little bit more sense. That's come in the Division 1 Midlands to Leek Town, who are currently 5 points above the relegation zone in Division 1 Midlands. But first team manager Ronnie Green, along with head coach Keith Cliff and coach Simon Worthington, have stepped down from their positions with immediate effect and by mutual consent. We thank them for their hard work over the last 8 months and wish them all the very best for the future. With no league game this weekend, we will provide further updates in due course. The first team currently sit just above the relegation zone, as I've mentioned, and with the next 4 league games currently being against the current top 4. So a difficult time coming for Leek Town ladies, but yes, a change not just in manager there, but with manager and 2 coaches leaving Leek Town. The other piece of news regards the FAWNL Cup final. So before we have a look at that piece of news, it makes sense to have a look at the Cup and Plate semi-final results, because we now know our finalists for both competitions. Halifax 0, United 2, a result that we're kind of expecting. Samantha Rowland in the 3rd and 57th minute put United in into the final. And Newcastle United 2, Portsmouth 1. Very close game here. 0-0 at half time. Goals in this one. Charlotte Potts in the 52nd minute put Newcastle in front. Emma Jones in the 64th minute had equalised before a last minute winner from Georgia Gibson. 90th minute goal for Newcastle puts them 2-1 in front, and they hold on to that 2-1 to win and go through into the final, which we now know is going to be held at Kenilworth Road, the home ground of Luton Town. The FA Women's National League has today announced, obviously this was back on the 23rd of, so that was on Friday, right after the show comes out. 11,500 capacity seater will be the first Premier League venue to date to host the competition's final, which will be fought out between what we now know Newcastle and #United. Obviously, the final last year was held at Burton Albion's Pirelli Stadium, where Forest beat Watford 3-2 after extra time. The final will be played on Women's Football Weekend, the 23rd and the 24th of March, which is an initiative to encourage fans to attend a women's game over the weekend. That is international break for the Premier League and the Championship. So although I went on and went, our Luton at home on the 23rd maybe, but because it's international break, we don't actually know when exactly that will take place, because as far as I'm aware, it's not it's not been announced on Twitter or anything like that. The tickets aren't on sale yet, and the fixtures the fixture for the final is not yet on full time, so it almost sounds as though even the league are not 100% sure yet. It will also mark the 40th anniversary of the first ever Women's European Championship, which was held at Luton Ground in 1984, where England reached the final but lost on penalties to Sweden in a two-legged tie. The FA plan to celebrate the occasion by inviting all players from the squad to attend the final. The chair of the FA Women's National League Board said recent years have been really exciting for the FAWNL, with accelerated growth supported by the Premier League through our strategy Empowering for Success. That's that 3-year £1 million deal. Having the opportunity to play the Cup final at a Premier League stadium really embodies this progress. Very excited for the final to be held at Kenilworth Road, and thank Luton Town for making it possible. So we know the venue for the final of the Cup. We don't yet know the final venue for the plate, but let's have a look at that as well. Cambridge United 3, Barnsley 2. Cambridge United taking the lead early in this one. Rachel Koski with the goal just 6 minutes in, but that only lasted for 5 minutes before Alana Milliard got one back for Barnsley. 1-1. That's how it went in at half time. Isabella Simmons in the 62nd minute 2-1. Then Ruth Fox off the bench just a minute after coming on, actually made it 3-1 with 14 minutes to go. And then although Barnsley got one back through Jodie Mikauska in the 91st minute, they weren't able to get the equaliser to send it to extra time. And despite the long trip down to Exeter, it's Tier 3 Derby County who come out on top, despite going behind to a Molly Taylor goal on the half-hour mark. Goals for Eleanor Ashton in the 37th minute, Charlotte Steggles in the 43rd, an own goal in the 49th put Derby 3-1 up. Amber Pollock got one back in the 64th minute to make it 3-2, but Camille Jenkins 11 minutes from time made it 4-2 to Derby. So it was Derby against Cambridge United in the final of the plate. But those are the cup competitions, so we'll wait to see where the plate final will be held and when it will be held. But we now know our finalists. Right, let's go through then into the league results. This is not going to take particularly long. Northern Premier Division, everything was postponed. That means the Northern table looks exactly the same as it did last week. So it's one of these situations. See last week's show for full details, because Yeah, no one played anything. Southern Premier Division, just one game. Ipswich Town 4, Rugby Borough 1. Goals in this one. Summer Hughes in the 37th minute. And then that was pretty much right after Angelina Nixon got sent off. She got sent off in the 34th minute for Rugby, which would have made it obviously all the more difficult for them. So Ipswich Town 1-0 up at half time. Then Yasmin Mosby equalised in the 70th minute, but this was really just the start of a goal flurry. Rugby equalising with 20 minutes to go. That lasted for 1 minute before Leanna Gunning-Williams in the 71st and the 75th minute put Ipswich 3-1 in front, and then Elkie Bowyer in the 88th minute. So 3 goals off the substitutes bench for Ipswich Town in this game. I mean, they are 4-1 winners against Rugby Borough. The Southern table therefore looks like this. Rugby remain in third, having lost that game. They are still then 9 points behind Portsmouth, and they've now played a game more. If it wasn't already, it now definitely for me is a 2-horse race. Although, as I've mentioned before, I believe it's a 1.5 horse race now, with Portsmouth just going about their business and making sure they tick off the games they need to tick off to end up in the Championship next season. So Ipswich Town, though, they are up to 5th. They go above MK Dons. This was one of their games in hand over that kind of midfield pack. And with the game in hand over Oxford, they could, of course, climb another place as well. Just out of interest, because we've not done it yet, and I know that this is going to be somewhat of a shorter show, let's have a brief look at the Women's Championship, because it'll be interesting to see what the table currently looks like and who may well end up coming down. So we'll have a look at that before anything goes. So currently, as it stands at the moment, it is still going to be, and it looks like it will just be, 2 Southern-based sides going down. There are anywhere kind of similar to this, really, anywhere between 7 and... Reading have got 9, but 7 and 6 games to go really for the majority. But currently, Lewis at the bottom, then Watford, who might be coming straight back down again after winning the playoff final last year. London City Lionesses in 10th, Reading in 9th. You've got to go to Sheffield United for a northern-based side, and... Well, Sheffield United are 5 points clear of the drop as it is and have a game in hand as well. So could well be a very difficult kind of run-in for to send a northern side down. If we have a look at Watford's results, Watford's games still to go. They've got Charlton, Reading, Sunderland. So it's not going to be an easy run-in for Watford with some of the teams up near the top of the table. So we're pretty much certain that we're going to end up with a mover from the Southern Premier Division into the Northern Premier Division. That will therefore be Rugby, who are the furthest north by quite some way. So expect Rugby Borough into the Northern Premier Division next season, unless something remarkable happens in the Women's Championship. Right, let's move through then into Tier 4 while we are here. Go with Division 1 Midlands. Only 2 games. Sheffield's midweek game was postponed and the game at the weekend was postponed. So Sporting Council against Peterborough United. Goals in this one. Peterborough taking a 2-0 lead before being pegged back. Keir Perkins in the 4th minute. Ella Hilliard in the 52nd minute before Isabella Austin Short in the 62nd minute and Layla Kennelly in the 81st minute. Pulled it all back for Sporting Council and the points are shared. And Solihull Moors 3, Leek Town 2. Leek Town taking the lead in this one, but ultimately ending up on the wrong side of the result as Full Time decides it wants to crash on me yet again. Does this on the regular now, Full Time. I know they're doing. Next week's show is going to be very interesting because between Tuesday and Thursday, full time is offline for essential security updates, it says. So I don't know what I'm going to be able to do for next week's show. May end up having to take a week off. We'll have a look, because I'll have to do everything on Monday just to try and get it in. So goals for Solihull Moors and Leek Town. Katie Mayer in the 6th minute put Leek Town in front. Ramea Farquharson in the 25th minute equalised for Solihull Moors. Then Manuela Dell in the 43rd minute put Leek Town in front again. They led 2-1 at half time before Alexandra Lydiard in the 59th minute, and then Bethany Gallagher in the 76th minute meant Solihull Moors took the 3-2 victory. In terms of the table, nobody's moved. Sporting Council and Peterborough United getting a draw means that they obviously both just gain a point, but they haven't gained really anything on Loughborough and Boldmere. That was a big kind of couple of points dropped for both of those sides, really. Sporting Council in particular could have put themselves to within 2 points at the top of the table with a win. And then in the mid-table, Solihull Moors then in 7th. They've gone from 3 points behind Sutton Coldfield Town to level with Sutton Coldfield Town, but their goal difference isn't enough to overtake them. And Leek Town, obviously losing, remain where they are, 5 points clear of the relegation zone. Division 1 North, again, just 2 results, but a big one for Chester Street Town, beating Doncaster Rovers Bells by 2-1. Jenny Ashton with the opening of the scoring for Chester Street Town in the 45th minute, then Rhiannon Gray in the 85th minute made it 2-0. Now, Lily Mae Broadhurst in the 88th minute did get one back for Doncaster Rovers Bells, but a valuable 3 points for Chester Street Town. Other game in Division 1 North, a Katie Astle goal in the 22nd minute meant Leeds United went above Norton and Stockton Ancients. What it means then for the league table in Division 1 North, Leeds United upper place over Stockport County. Now with 3 games in hand over Middlesbrough, Leeds now find themselves 8 points behind. So if other results start to come back to them a little bit, then Leeds do have a very outside chance of putting themselves into the conversation. The problem they've got is the likes of Hull City, who have got 3 points more than them, a better goal difference, and have played a game less. They are 5 points behind Barnsley, and they only have 1 game in hand over Barnsley. They're 4 points behind Durham, and they don't have a game in hand over them. But still, with 9 games to go for Leeds United, that, it's not an insurmountable gap in any way, shape or form. And you're looking at that league table, you look at the games that Leeds United have got to go, and you go, they've got Durham, they've got Hull, they've got Stockport who are in 6th, they've got Barnsley who are in 2nd. They have these teams in and around the top half of the table, with which, if they can pick up wins and deny these other teams the points, Leeds could find themselves come mid-April in a conversation where everything is still possible. That's really the situation in Division 1 North. Probably one of the most exciting leagues in terms of number of teams still involved. Obviously, I said last week that I think both Tier 3 leagues are done. I think the teams at the top currently, Newcastle and Portsmouth, will go up. I think the teams in the bottom 2 will be the ones that come down. But Division 1 North, you've got, towards the bottom of the table, you've got 5 teams that are probably still within, danger of going down. Particularly, York are only 5 points away from Norton Stockton Ancients with 3 games in hand on them. And you've got 5 teams towards the top who could probably still fight for that promotion spot. So Division 1 North, arguably the most exciting division we have. The big win for Chester Street Town lifts them out of the relegation zone. Yes, they've played 2 games more than York City, but they are clear now of the relegation zone by a couple of points. And if they can pick up anything more in the next couple of weeks, then they might just be able to keep themselves safe. Right, Division 1 South East results. Just 1. Ashford Town 3, Chesham United 0. Goals in this one. Can't find times anywhere. Ashley Cheatley, Alyssa Down and Amy Dern. Now, The only interesting thing of this, if you look on Chesham's Twitter, they only put one tweet out over the course of the game. It was something like they started with 10 and went down to 9, and they had no goalkeeper and something along those lines. It's difficult when you go online and neither club has put out updates on the game, so I couldn't find out when any of the goal times were, and you can't find out what's happened, and people are asking what's happened, and they've got no answer. So a difficult one there, but the long and short of it is a 3-0 win for Ashford, which lifts them up to 5th. Now, of course, they are 12 points away from AFC Wimbledon, so there is kind of no danger there of them really mounting a title challenge, because with the 7 games they've got to go, they'd have to win 4 of them. Well, 4 of them, 5 of them really just to catch Wimbledon up, and I can't see Wimbledon losing like 4 games on the spin. Chesham United remain in 9th, 7 points clear of the drop, and that was their game in hand over Cambridge City. But 7 points with 7 games to go, given the records of those teams down towards the bottom of the table. I still maintain that I believe that Chesham United have done enough with those back-to-back wins they got at the end of January to secure their safety. You look at, yes, Cambridge City, the next couple of games they've got, Haywards Heath Town, AFC Sudbury, those 2 teams down towards the bottom. But they've got to get those results early, because then you've got Wimbledon, who are first, Norwich, who are second, Worthing, who are third, Cambridge United, who are in 6th, London Seawood are in 8th. So it really is kind of now or never for Cambridge City over the next couple of weeks. And then finally, the one division where things seem to happen. Division 1 Southwest. Plenty of games to talk about here. Firstly, last Thursday, after the show went out, Torquay United 0, Exeter City 2. Not a particularly convincing victory for Exeter. A bit of a difficult pitch from what I can understand, but goals for Sophie Gillies in the 23rd minute, Sarah Stacey in the 56th meant that Exeter obviously continued their strong form at the top. Pressure back onto Bournemouth. Can they, are they able to answer back? Yes, they are. A 3-1 victory over Keynsham Town. Molly Clark in the 9th minute, Lucy Cooper in the 20th minute put them 2-0 in front. Keynsham, line up not on full time. There's a fine. I haven't said that in a while. But Vicky Vipond in the 59th minute with the goal for Keynsham Town. Thank you to Bournemouth's Twitter for that one. And Amber Treweek in the 93rd minute rounded off the victory for Bournemouth. Moneyfields 4, Torquay United 2, so not a good week for Torquay United. Goals for Moneyfields coming to Sky Louise Granger in the 25th minute, Gemma Simmons in the 42nd, Beth Burgess in the 47th, and Charlie Wilson-Wilton in the 63rd. Goals for Torquay United, no times on these, for Ocean Latto and for Lexi Watts. Right, Southampton Women's 2, Bridgewater United 3. Interesting one, this one, because Southampton Women's, they've got the goal scorers on there, Oceania Adams and Maisie Aldridge with the goals for Southampton Women's. Bridgewater United, no goal details whatsoever on full-time, on Twitter or anywhere, so I have no idea. They've got 3 points, but I've got no idea who scored those goals for Bridgewater United. Convincing victory for Swindon Town, though, an 8-1 win over Portishead Town. Started off with an own goal in just the 9th minute and then the 27th minute as well. Horrid day for Portishead Town in front of goal. Megan Jarvis then 45 plus 1 and 82nd minute. Annabelle Colston in the 60th and the 86th minute. Then Georgia Van Der Eyes in the 78th minute. Then at that point, with it being 7-0, Stella Morgan gets one back for Portishead in the 87th minute to make it 7-1, before Helena Diaz-Butcher in the 91st minute makes it 8-1. And then last night, Maidenhead United 1, Abingdon United 1. Of course, there's nothing on full time as of yet, but thanks to their Twitters, goal for Stockton in the 11th minute for Maidenhead, and then Chivers in the 71st minute got the equaliser for Abingdon United. In the table then, a couple of teams moving. Moneyfield's upper place with their victory over Torquay. They go back above Abingdon, and Maidenhead with their draw last night. Because of their better goal difference over Portishead Town, they climb up a place into 8th. So it's a 9-point gap now between Southampton Women's in 11th and Portishead Town in 9th. Now, yes, Southampton Women have 3 games in hand on Portishead Town, but they're down at the bottom for a reason. And it's looking very much now like the top, we know, one of those two, Exeter or Bournemouth, and I think it is going to come down to the final day and what a game that's going to be. And then down towards the bottom, it's 2 of those 3. Well, realistically, it's one of those 2 to accompany Chelsea. It's either Torquay or Southampton, which is going to be a great battle. Have they got to play each other again? Yes, they do, towards the end of March. But Torquay, Torquay have got a game against Chelsea coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend. Southampton Women also have a game against Chelsea, so they will probably cancel each other out, and that gap will remain at 2 points. And then it depends, can Torquay get points from anywhere else? They've got Bridgewater, who are 7th, Maidenhead, who are 8th, Portishead, who are 9th, and then Swindon, who are 3rd, but will have nothing to play for by that stage. So Torquay have got to finish their season off. The team in 12th, the team in 11th, they are in 10th, the team in 9th, the team in 8th, and the team in 7th. Everybody in the bottom half for Torquay. For Southampton Women, yes, they've got more games. They also have Chelsea, and of course they have Torquay. They also then have Portishead and Maidenhead and Bridgewater, so they've all got to play the exact same teams. The difference being is then these obviously games in hand for Southampton Women. In fact, actually, they've got to play Maidenhead twice. They also have to play Moneyfields in there as well as Keynsham. So it still could go either way, that one. It really could. But yeah, those are the fixtures. As I said, there weren't many because of the rain and the weather and all the rest of it. But now let's have a look at the fixtures. Now there should be not a full programme, but close to a full programme this weekend. But again, this depends entirely on the weather. Right, Northern fixtures. Derby against Burnley, 5th against 3rd. Forest against Halifax should have been up at Claiborne, but obviously they had that semi-final against # last week, and they are anticipating bad weather up there and have already made the switch. That was a couple of days ago already. They have made that switch to play it at Grange Park. So Forest now hosting Halifax. Obviously Forest in 2nd. Huddersfield Town against West Brom, 11th against 10th. Huge game down towards the bottom. You really feel if West Brom are to win this game away at Huddersfield, then I already think it's the bottom 2 that are going down, but that would really kind of shore that up in my mind. Stoke City in 7th for hosting Newcastle, and Wolves in 6th hosting Liverpool Feds, who are in 4th. Wolves still only played 11 games this season, and now we're at the end of February, so they've got 11 games to fit into 9 weeks. Their last league game was the 4th of Feb when they lost to Newcastle. So it's been 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks it will have been since their last league game. So they are really falling behind. And then like Halifax, they've only played 10, so they've got to play 12 games in 9 weeks. Hence the midweeks are really going to start ramping up. Just the odd midweek here and there as we near the end of the season. Happens every year. Burnley against Derby could be an interesting one. Burnley are 14 points behind Newcastle. They really can't drop any more. Even with winning all of them, they go to 5 points behind. Forest would be 6 points behind, even with winning their game in hand. That draw with Liverpool Feds really hurt them. Again, I don't think anybody's going to catch Newcastle. I can't see Newcastle, kind of falling off a cliff in the last 7 games, particularly with the likes of playing Stourbridge, who are down towards the bottom, Huddersfield, Halifax, West Brom, all down towards the bottom of the table. Even with games against Liverpool, Feds, and Wolves, who are kind of upper mid-table, they're not going to fall off enough. But it's that Huddersfield West Brom game down towards the bottom. That's the big one in the north. In the south, just 2. Cardiff City, Portsmouth. You've kind of got to look at Portsmouth for that one. Plymouth Argyle, Ipswich. You're most likely going to be talking about another Ipswich win. So, it's 2 teams towards the top. Portsmouth first, Cardiff 7th. Plymouth in 9th against Ipswich in 5th. Again, I think both teams are safe already. You look at the fixtures to go. There's 6 games to go for London Bees and Chatham Town. London Bees would have to win 5 out of the 6 in order to catch Plymouth, because they are 14 points behind at the moment. And London Bees, and I know I've said this already, but they've got Oxford, Rugby, and Portsmouth in those final 6. They are not catching Plymouth up. In fact, realistically, even if, it's 13 points just to catch Cheltenham, so you've got to get 4 wins and a draw at least, but that won't do the goal difference. So it's either 4 wins and 2 draws or 5 wins for London Bees to even get out of the relegation zone. And it's even though it won't happen this weekend, they've then got Cheltenham next weekend, which will be a must-win game. And if they lose that game, then it's pretty much curtains for London Bees. They've then got Chatham the week after that, and that could end up taking Chatham down with them as well. So Plymouth, I think, have already done enough. It's a 10-point gap between Chatham and Cheltenham. It's more just seeing out the season now for teams such as Cardiff and Plymouth. Now they've done enough to secure safety in Tier 3. Tier 4 then, 4 games happening in Division 1 Midlands. Leefeld Athletic against Notts County, Loughborough Lightning against Boldmere St Michael's, Sheffield against Northampton Town, and Lincoln City against Sporting Cowser. So, big games top and bottom in the Midlands. Leefeld Athletic against Notts County, 12th against 10th. If Leefeld win this game, they leapfrog Notts County. If Notts County can win this game, then they have the possibility to be 4 points clear of the relegation zone. Loughborough Lightning, Boldmere St Michael's, both tied on 33 points at the top of the table, particularly Sporting Cowser, who are also playing this weekend away at Lincoln City, who are down in 8th, will be wanting a draw between those two sides. If you remember, this was the game we were denied a few weeks ago when everything seemed to kick off at Boldmere. So we were denied that game, and that's now been scheduled for this weekend. Sheffield, Northampton Town. Northampton are in 5th. They're kind of in no man's land. Sheffield, of course, in this relegation battle. Will the pitch be able to hold up and actually get that game on? Because Sheffield have got a lot of home games still to play with all of these postponements. They've got another 4 that are already scheduled, plus obviously the one from earlier on last week that hasn't been scheduled yet. So plenty still going on for Sheffield in that relegation fight. Division 1 North fixtures, 5 of them. There's a relatively full programme here. Chester Street Town in 10th against Hull are in 4th. Tough one for Chester Street Town. Doncaster Rovers Bells in 7th, Barnsley in 2nd. Durham Sestra against Leeds. This is one of these games I alluded to earlier where Leeds are still very much in with a shout of getting into the conversation. These are the games they've got to win to take points away from the likes of Barnsley. Norton Stockton Ancients against FC United of Manchester, 8th against 12th. FC United of Manchester have already started using hashtag Great Escape. 5 points away from safety. These games against the likes of Norton Stockton Ancients are the ones they kind of need to be targeting as games to go out and try and win. Because with the best will in the world, they've got Hull, Middlesbrough, Barnsley still to play. They've got Leeds still to play, Stockport still to play. So you're looking at Norton. The game against Norton and the game against Doncaster are both must-win games because they've got teams in the top half to play elsewhere. It's going to be tough for FC United of Manchester. Must win, realistically. And York City against Chorley, 11th against 9th. Big game again. York City, if they win it, have the opportunity to get back out of the relegation zone if other results go their way. If Chorley get the win, they will pull themselves 7 points clear of the bottom two. So a 3-game gap would really help Chorley out. Division 1 South East, 2 games at the weekend, then 1 on Tuesday. Cheshire United against Norwich, so going to be very difficult for Cheshire United, that one. Haywards Heath Town against Cambridge City, that's a big one towards the bottom. A point means they both stay in the relegation zone. A win for either of them lifts them out of it. Because of their better goal difference. Haywards Heath Town would go up 2 places above AFC Sudbury because Sudbury are not playing. Cambridge City would also, with a win, go out of the relegation zone, but a draw means that Cambridge City will still be in the relegation zone by just a single goal. And then on Tuesday, Actonians against Cheshire United, 7th against 9th. This is not at Actonians' normal Rectory Park. This is at Bedfont Recreation Ground, 7:45 kickoff there in that midweek game. So that's the situation in Division 1 South East. Division 1 South West, 3 games as well this weekend. Bridgewater United against AFC Bournemouth. So the top 2 back in action. Bridgewater in 7th, Bournemouth in 2nd. So Bournemouth, you would expect, should get the job done. They have to get the job done. Exeter have a game against Chelsea. Now, the problem that Bournemouth have got in this battle between themselves and Exeter is that this game that Exeter have got against Chelsea, you sense that is going to mean that they are going to put a significant number past them. Exeter put 14 past them in the reverse fixture about a month ago. Now, Bournemouth put 13 past Chelsea on opening day, but the reason I'm highlighting this is that Bournemouth are playing Chelsea essentially on the penultimate week of the season, the 21st of April. In fact, it is Bournemouth's penultimate game. Exeter already have a goal difference that is 21 better than Bournemouth's. They are going to extend that this weekend to, let's say they put 14 past Chelsea again. That'll put Exeter on a goal difference of 80. Bournemouth, even let's say if they win by 5, there we're on 50. That was a goal difference of 30 goals that Bournemouth will have to overcome realistically before the game against Exeter on the final day of the season, because obviously whoever goes into that game, and this is assuming that nobody slips up somewhere else, it is an assumption on that part, but whoever goes into that game on the final day of the season, they will of course both be going for the win. But whoever goes in with the better goal difference will know that a draw will send them up. Now, as I said, they will both be going for the win on that final day of the season. In terms of goals scored, Exeter far in front of Bournemouth. So if it is somehow level on goal difference, Exeter at the minute in front on goals scored. That being said, goals against goes in Bournemouth's favour. So then if the goal difference becomes level, no, it will still be Exeter, won't it? I'm trying to do maths in my head at this point. So whoever obviously is in front on the goal difference will know a draw will do it. There's a lot of assumptions between now and then, but where are Exeter and Bournemouth going to slip up? Exeter have got 7 games to go. They don't have anybody, they don't have to play Swindon, they don't have to play Moneyfields. They've got Abingdon, but that's at home. It's difficult to see where Exeter are going to start losing games. Now, Bournemouth have got Moneyfields away, which could be a more tricky fixture for them. If anybody's likely to slip up before final day, I think it's more likely to be Bournemouth. But we'll have to see. But yes, so Chelsea hosting Exeter City. Expect another big result there for Exeter, which is going to boost their goal difference even more. The pressure really is on Bournemouth because not only do they have to win all of their games to keep up with Exeter, they have to win them big because they've got to catch up. And I mean, technically they don't, because if they win all their games between now and the end of the season, they go up. So they could win them all 1-0 and end up winning by 3 points if they beat Exeter on final day. But I think you just want that assurance of just being a bit closer on goal difference, just in case somebody slips up somewhere. Say Bournemouth lose a game by a goal to nil. If you then go into that game against Exeter City and you're within 2 or 3 goals of overtaking them on goal difference, that's manageable. If you go into the game against Exeter City 3 points behind and you're 10 goals back, well, it's very unlikely. So it's that extra level of assurance by getting all of these goals and getting close enough that if anything does happen between now and the end of the season and you go into it level on points, say you go level on points and you draw, if you've got the better goal difference, you go up. If you're 3 points behind and you've got the better goal difference, you can win and go up. So at Bournemouth, they just need to score a load of goals, really, is what I'm trying to say. But that will do it for this week's Women's Football Chat. Waffled a little bit, but not a huge amount going on in the world of the FAWNL over the past 7 days or so, with the rain, which is still coming down. Yeah, still coming down outside my window, so we'll see how many games get called off between now and Sunday. But thank you very much for watching and or listening to this week's episode of the Women's Football Chat. I'll be back next Thursday at 6 p.m. And of course, today is Leap Year Day, which you might celebrate, you might not. You might go, oh, it's an extra day, I've got to work for the same pay. Yeah, that really sucks. February the 29th, an extra day for this year. So, as I said, that'll do it for this week's episode of the Women's Football Chat. Thank you very much for watching and or listening. I'll be back next Thursday at 6 p.m. Goodbye.